First of all, before we get into this, I really again want to thank Fox Searchlight and Arclight for partnering up for doing this.
Yeah.
I'm huge thank you to you guys for being here, for doing the Q&A and letting us watch the movie early. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We spent the last couple of weeks.
Hey, look at this.
We've spent the last couple of weeks doing some preview screenings around the country and even in Canada. So it's been fun to do these sort of sneak previews and see how people react to it.
Hello.
Look at this.
Testing. Holy shit.
Cream.
Oh,
I like that.
Game on.
These guys on the left like to eat the microphone, as we say.
Put it in the mouth, baby.
Right here. It's right here, the lower left.
Rest the chin right on that thing.
These are designed for a couple inches.
Nah, bullshit.
So I want to go backwards. How long, because you guys have been talking about doing a sequel for a while, and if I'm not mistaken, originally, or one of the early ideas was doing a prequel, or am I wrong about this?
The original idea, I think you're probably thinking of, was we showed the script to the Farrelly brothers, and they said, "What about making it in the '70s?" So we wrote a '70s draft of this movie, and then after we made the first one, we thought, well, why don't we make the second one be in the '70s?
But then the only way to accomplish that would be we portray all of our fathers in the movie, and that sounded funny too. There got to be a point where like, maybe we're doing.
That felt like too big a jump.
Well, sure, but we were riffing in a situation like this, and in the moment we liked it because we were thinking, bigger '70s mustaches, cool '70s hot rod muscle cars, and
Bill Bump.
yeah. And then we were done with that idea, but it got out there. Now it's on IMDb, I think.
Hence the reason I'm in trouble. Anyway, but so you guys, something you guys have been talking about for a while. Talk a little bit about, and I want to go backwards to the campaign. When did you have any idea, because you were funded in like 26 hours or something crazy, when did you realize, or how nervous were you before the campaign started in terms of, are people gonna,
There was certainly a situation where, when we went to Fox and said we want to make the sequel, they said, "Great, why don't you guys raise the money?" And we said, okay, we can do that. And, Veronica Mars had raised $5.8 million, and we thought, well, we might have that kind of fan base. And so we took an enormous risk and did it, because if the fans had not funded the film, then Fox would have been like, yeah, nobody wants to see your sequel, pal. And we wouldn't have made the movie.
Yeah, so that first 24 hours was integral and really terrifying in terms of the future of, Super Troopers 2,
But
If it didn't happen, we were done.
But we had confidence because the whole thing started with like having like a few years of like anytime we went out, people saying, "Hey, you should make another Super Trooper." So we thought, okay, no, clearly there are people who want it, but then it really was that time to like shit or get off the pot, or like put your money where your mouth is, and it suddenly became terrifying. So it was like kind of election night watching the returns come in as we sat around the computer in that 24 hours.
But that's right. Is the reality is we walk around and people say, "Hey, you should make another Super Troopers." But the reality of that moment is that they see you and they're like, "Oh, I'll say that to the guy."
Right.
Because they saw us. So
What else?
what else they gonna say to us?
Podfest, yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Well, so what I'm curious about is, obviously you guys had a draft of the script, but then also you have to figure out how much money do we have to actually make this thing. So how did it change as a result of the actual amount of money you had in terms of what you know what I mean? Like, how did the script get altered?
We cut like 20 pages out of it. I mean, we had a final budget of a number that we had, but we had a much longer script. And we ended up cutting in characters. The producer says, "All right, cut 20 pages." And you're like, "Well, I don't know how you do that." So you got to cut major set pieces and consolidate characters.
Yeah, we cut a whole arc out of Max, right? I mean, your whole arc.
Yeah,
We won't give it away though, because it's going to be in Super Troopers 3, right?
Yeah, I think we'll put it in Super Troopers 3. It's funny because like our producer said, we need to cut 20 pages out. And, I was reading Super Troopers 2, and I was like, Jesus Christ, my plot line should be cut right out of this fucking thing. But I'm not going to say anything right now. And then,
Well, we all did.
Yeah. I think I actually did say something. It was kind of obvious, like it really had nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
And to your credit, you put up a fight for one day, which is what you should do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you gave up and said, yeah, this is what should be cut.
Yeah.
We also consolidated characters, right? So there were 4 Mounties originally. We made 3, and then for a long time there was a U.S. Homeland Security guy who was kind of our boss, and then he ended up being a bad guy, right? But
Jim Bigwood.
Jim Bigwood. But we kind of folded him into the Rob Lowe character.
Yeah,
So.
that was actually going to be the big twist, was that Jim Bigwood was also one of the bad guys.
Right. But so we had to condense characters and condense locations and take out some of these kind of bigger subplot stuff. And,
How's that microphone taste?
Delish, bro.
You ever do stand-up with him, and then he comes off stage and you go on and he gives you
Yeah,
his
it's
mic and
soaking
it
wet.
smells, it's wet, it smells like him?
I like to own the mic, man.
But the mic isn't even the biggest problem. Like he's mellowed it out right now, but a lot of times when he holds the mic, he holds it down here with his 3 fingers out,
Why are you talking? You have adopted the same exact mic setup.
or he gives the finger while he's doing it. But I'm not a face on the microphone guy. He is. I give him shit about it all the time, and we just shot our new stand-up comedy special, and after the first
Are you plugging your special in the
Bring
middle
it
of
back.
the
Bring it back.
after the first taping, after the first taping, the producers came and yelled at him for putting his mouth on the microphone.
And you know what I said? Fuck you. That's what I said.
Loud and clear, right?
Oh, I've been on the receiving end of that many times.
A lot of water, guys, a lot of water. Coming down.
Anyway,
A lot of water.
that's a long-winded
We
answer.
digress. We digress.
I don't know what the question
everyone
was. But I have a water.
Editing is ultimately the final rewrite. So I'm curious, how long was your first cut compared to the finished film?
It was pretty, because we went in and cut a lot of pages out before we actually shot, and we knew we had a very limited budget. For the first time, I think, we ended up having a cut that was very close to the last cut. It wasn't even over 2 hours, right?
No, it wasn't, but, we always, we've written a lot of jokes in our movies where we've smoked grass before we wrote them. And so we always, the first time we see the movie, we always smoke a joint, and then we watch the movie. And this one time, Kevin and I and the editor smoked a joint, watched the movie, and we're like, this movie fucking sucks. And we all felt it, and we're like, do you think it sucked too? We're like, yeah, that was terrible. And you're like, wow, we made a bad movie. Oh no. And so, I don't know. I mean, yes, you're right. It's about the same length, but
Yeah. Well, no, in the past, these movies have been, Beer Fest and Club Dread were like 2.5-hour cuts, the first one. I remember we handed in Club Dread to the studio, to Fox Searchlight. It was 2.5 hours long, and the head of the studio, Peter Rice, said, I didn't think I was getting Ben-Hur. And you're like, oh, Jesus, okay. So, I think we made a conscious effort. We had limited money, limited resources, and it was, let's shoot only what we need. And I think we went in there and did that. So there's very little stuff on the cutting room floor, I think.
But that, the original cut of this movie had all of those pullovers that you see. They're all chopped up now, but each of those scenes in their entirety played back to back, which was like 12 minutes of pullovers, which it really drags the whole thing down.
So that's it for it.
you didn't like our first cut either.
No, I didn't. But I'm terrified of the first cut every time, because you're also dealing with the reality of what it is, and what is now permanently on film.
Does my mustache really look like that?
Yeah, that's one of the things you say. Look at my mustache.
So you guys see the first cut and you're not happy with it. Are you then showing it to friends and family to get feedback? And how did any screenings for people impact the finished film?
No, you know what, we did a bunch of cuts, and I think we were comfortable with it by the time we showed it to anybody else. And then we did a little screening, like 10 people that we are close to, and maybe have an editor's eye, or people who we respect their their thoughts on, and so we did that, and I think we really got it to a place where we were comfortable with it before, we moved out into the more kind of big friends and family. Then we started doing the 100-seaters, we did a 300-seater, and that's, those are the great moments where you find the, you hear the laughs, and you find the laughs, and what's working, what's not working, and at that point, I think we were super comfortable at that point with it.
Yeah, because we recorded, like, you had the brilliant idea to go into the test screening we did in Anaheim and record audio off your phone so that we could play it back, because we'll always argue with each other. No, that worked. No, they liked it. No, they hated it. And then we had this document that you could lay against picture the audio in the theater. But then what happened was Lemmy sat down next to Heffernan with a big thing of nachos. And so for the first 20 minutes of the movie, the audio was useless because all you heard was and then you heard Heffernan go, what the fuck are you doing, man? You're eating nachos. I'm trying to record. I don't know, they were free nachos. They were good. You just ate dinner. You just had dinner. Now you're having nachos. Well, I wanted to get some nachos.
Free nachos. They're
Yeah,
delicious.
I love free nachos as much as the next
How
guy.
could I resist?
But the upshot of it is that this, that when it was finally time to do an official test screening, we got a score like infinitely higher than any movie that we've ever done. So it was fun because I think I did the same thing too. I saw the first cut and I was like, oh my god, we dropped the ball. And then we do the test screening in Anaheim and it got fucking 90. And we're like, oh, okay, no, that's good.
Talk a little bit about, one of the things is, there's a lot of people here, we all listen, we love the first movie. How much, when you're writing it and when you're making the sequel, how much are you sort of thinking about, touching on jokes that you did in the past that people love, like Meow, and sort of doing something all new where you're not, you know what I mean? That balance.
Well, we just really tried to just say, Law and Order made 250 of those. We're just going to make another one of these. And then we wrote a story that we felt was good enough to be its own movie. And then we painted in the references afterwards.
But we also wanted to make sure that any reference had some kind of new angle to it.
Like a
So
progression or
like you mentioned, Meow, like to us, what I think is so funny about what we do with Gaffigan here is at some point we came to the realization that like all these years later, like this thing that was so memorable to Gaffigan that happened to him 15 years earlier where these weirdo cops said meow to him, to us would be like, why the fuck would I remember some dumb thing I said to some dude? Like that's all that we did, like presumably every day, all day for 15 years. So that's me like saying, hey, remember when you had that breakfast 15 years ago? And you'd be like, why the fuck would I remember that? So I thought that was a funny way of being like, all right, let's look at the Meow game that way as something that like caught on in somebody's mind. But from the Super Troopers' point of view, that's just one of a million stupid things that they said, between the first movie and the second movie.
I'm curious, with the limited time you had, limited budget, how much does that still allow you to improv in the moment? And how much are you, oh, fuck, we need to make our days?
In the first movie, there were about literally 8 or 9 lines improvised, and in the second, it's more like 25.
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
we're always,
maybe.
yeah, we riff a lot.
maybe more than that.
Right.
I think more than that.
More than
This one,
that.
yeah. I mean, a lot of times we'll, now, we have these other actors come in and work with us, and they have a freedom to do, like Rob Lowe, a lot of his shit was improvised, a lot of that stuff came out of him,
Or at least jokes that guys brought to the table.
Yeah.
Which is the cool thing with the Mounties.
Yeah.
And Paul Walter Hauser, who plays Lani Lelouch, the French Canadian Farva. That was what was so cool. Was these guys came, and because they were fans of the first movie, they were like, okay, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna bring a bunch of jokes and lines. So.
And luckily we're in a place now where I think when we made the first one, we knew less what we were doing, and we had even less money and less time. This time, I feel like we're more efficient at what we do now, which allows us to play a little bit and do some improvising, and we shoot a version of the scripted line and then kind of go off and do some other shit that we want to do.
But both films were shot in 28 days.
Yeah.
But every draft of the script we do, which is like, we did 35 drafts of each script. All through the process, we're just throwing things out and improvising in the moment while we write. So, I mean,
Sort of our rehearsal process is the improvisation as well.
I don't want to ruin the gag because it's the beginning of the movie, so I don't want to say it so people.
Didn't they see the movie?
No, but people might be taping it.
Oh, they're
so maybe
taping
like on
it.
Instagram or.
Spoiler alert.
Right, so I just want to say, was it always, you have some guest appearances in the very beginning of the film. Was it always those two people, or was there a talk of other people? Like, how did it come to
No,
those two?
it was always those two people. I mean, we've been friends with those guys, and they're very funny. They're just very funny people. Those guys.
We're talking around it.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like we went through a big list. They were the list.
For people who like the extras on, this is completely down the road, but, so do you have actual deleted scenes? Or what was the last scene that you cut out that you were really close to keeping?
Eric was in a deleted scene.
It's more like there are parts of scenes that are pulled, you know? Like I think when Eric's,
The scene with the second
Yeah.
bear?
yeah.
We had a scene with a second bear in the bear script, favorite joke in the script. When the one bear chases Farva outside and everyone goes outside after it, the second bear comes in the room where I'm handcuffed. And then I'm yelling to the guys, but they're so far gone, and the bear comes over and thinks it's an ice cream sundae. And so it comes over and takes a leg, only to find out it's shaving cream, and he gets pissed off. So it starts swatting at the shaving cream, and it's just inches from, you know.
And the bear trainer was like, I wouldn't necessarily try to do that, guy. These bears are good, but really what you're asking
It's hard to get bear knives, it
yeah.
turns out, yeah. But we tried it with like plates and dummies and all sorts of stuff, and it just like taking up the whole day, so the scene got cut.
Linda Carter, how did you pull that off?
Oh, Linda Carter.
Uh,
A pleasure.
Got her a Hollywood star, right?
She did, yeah. I mean, she was psyched. Well, you know, the first movie, it was a big deal that we got her. You know, I remember we, you know, went after Linda Carter to try to get her for that part, and we got her. I remember jumping around in the parking lot, just, you know, being so excited, like little kids to get Linda Carter. But then after that, you know, she became a good friend of ours. She's worked with us a couple of times, and so when we asked her, it was easy. You know, it was easy. She was happy to come back. She was very happy to come back. And we gave her all the exposition in the movie. She had all the expositions. So.
Do you remember on the first Super Troopers, we made an offer to Dan Patrick of ESPN to be Mayor Timber, and he said yes immediately. And we're really excited about that one too. And then we found out it was a different Dan Patrick.
The casting director, I called up and said, Dan Patrick said yes, and we were jumping in the parking lot like, oh my God, we got Dan Patrick!
Yeah, and then we found out there was this other Dan Patrick in SAG, and then
He lived in Oregon.
yeah, he was excited because he got the part, but we fired him immediately.
Then he didn't get the part.
You guys, you filmed, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong about this, but I believe you filmed it in late 2015, early 2016. Am I wrong about this?
We filmed for a week then, and then we filmed the rest of it like 8 months later.
Because we got the 4.67 whatever it was from Indiegogo, and we were trying to get the rest of the money, fill out the budget, but we couldn't get it. And the end of the year was rapidly approaching, and we were told then that the government was going to take half of that money if we didn't spend it. And so we actually had to go and shoot for a week at the end of the year, and then in 2016 we filmed for another month.
Should we ask questions from the crowd?
Oh, we're getting there. I'm just,
Okay.
I had one last thing though. How, my last thing was, how hard was it, because I know there was a lot of perks that you gave out to raise the money. How long did it take you to pull off all the perks? And what was maybe something you learned from it that?
We're still doing it. We're still pulling off the parts.
pulling perks.
There's 7,000 posters in my garage right now that we're signing next week. So.
We tried to figure, we last time we had like a session of signing posters, we timed it out. How long it takes for the five of us to sign, whatever, it was like 200 posters. And we did the math and realized we needed what? Like
We need like 17 hours
17 hours.
straight signing to do everything we need to do.
So
See how it goes.
in 2 weeks, we'll all be in Heffernan's back house, just doing this for 17 hours.
Well, one of the perks was a $25 million perk that one of us would sire a child for somebody. Which is still up for sale, I guess. Nobody bought it.
Yeah, some people were sniffing around, but nobody
It was a tough conversation.
pulled the
with my
trigger
wife.
on that.
I thought it would be exciting, you know? Like, you wouldn't know whose you were gonna get.
Right, and the turkey baster shows up in your mailbox.
And you make it all 5 of us, you shake it up, and it comes out like a, you know, it's like short, fat, and brown, and you, it's a mixture of some of us.
Literally twins. And it's time to open up to the crowd. Right? Questions? Right there.
How often do you guys get approached by state highway patrolmen and what can they say?
How often do we get approached by a highway patrolman?
I directed the film Dukes of Hazzard, and we shut down the 10 freeway, and we were shooting like a jump onto the freeway, and all the police showed up, and the chief of police of New Orleans showed up, and he gave me his card at the end of the day, and he goes, son, you get in any trouble down here, you give me a call. He goes, anything short of murder. And then he goes, actually, murder's okay for you too.
And you took him up on it, which was awesome.
I killed a couple guys.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Right there.
Hey, so Kevin is Farva, of course.
Yes, sir.
But in this movie, he was like extra Farva.
Yeah, you noticed. We were
Crazy Farva.
So
Farva got dialed up to 11.
oh yeah, crazy. So did any of you like just really want to kill him at any moment?
I mean, the problem is, it's like, where does Farva end and Kevin begin?
Nobody knows.
You know, I honestly think that the line is just one stick of gum. Because he's not too far off. You know, as part of our, the nice thing about writing the sequel to this is that we were so familiar with the characters that what would happen is that when we were writing anything obnoxious that was thrown out there, anything not PC, we were just like,
Anything ugly American?
yeah, we're just like, just make Farva say it. But the end result now is that every single thing out of his mouth is fucking bullshit. And has the appearance of making him totally insane.
And we had conversations about, like, do we, like, narratively have to justify that? Like, do we have to at some point be like, oh yeah, the guy's got a brain tumor. Because you really, like, as you talk about, like, Farva in the first movie is just that asshole that you work with. Farva in the second movie is like a dangerously unhinged madman, like running amok.
Yeah, I mean, he's extremely patriotic, except he doesn't know the words to the Pledge of Allegiance or the national anthem. He doesn't even know the first line of the national anthem.
He swallows M&Ms and chews on pills. Like, he's out of his fucking mind.
He chops off. Oh, don't, right? Okay, spoiler alert. Well, okay, you know what I'm talking about. He chops off his dick, okay? Oh, wait, he did that in the first one, and then we saw it.
We
Okay.
joke that maybe remove the tumor though, and then it becomes like regarding Henry. He's just a nice.
And the third one becomes regarding Henry.
Is that the plot regarding Henry?
He gets shot in a convenience store robbery.
And then he
It's not-
becomes
it's
nice.
not- it's not-
Oh yeah, we
it's
saw
not
it
a
regarding
female.
Henry.
Yeah. You see regarding Farva, right?
Yep.
That's a great title. Right there in the back, right up there. Yep.
First off, movie was amazing.
Thank you.
100 times better. I already imagined. I knew it was going to be great.
Thank you.
Jay, you already touched on. You mentioned Dukes of Hazzard as a child of the '80s, and one of my favorite movies that you guys are underappreciated for. Is there any possible future for that? And two-part question: Podfest?
Well, I think the whole Confederate flag thing made it like a one movie thing. Warner Brothers called me up and said, we gotta remove the Confederate flag from the General Lee. And I'm like, I know a couple guys will direct this film, but, and Knoxville called me, he said, you know they're gonna take the fucking Confederate flag off the General Lee? I'm like, I know, pal. He goes, and then we told him we're both leaving. Just because it's a General Lee. I mean, that's the whole gag, right? So, we can't do that movie again. We did it. We got it right under the wire, barely, because I'm mostly insulted for that film.
That's a great movie.
It has nothing to do with the film, it has to do with the generally. Whatever, it is what it is. So no to that film. And Potfest, sure, yeah, okay.
Call back.
If enough people go to this one, we'll make Potfest.
Yeah, that's what we've had to tell people. Even if you hate Super Troopers, but you want Podfest, you have to see Super Troopers 2, which will unlock Podfest.
Or if someone pays for that magical sperm.
Yes.
Well, then we'll make it
true,
still
too.
available. Still available.
We'll make Club Dread the prequel.
We talked about how sweet it would be to make a prequel to a horror movie, which they would just be people working at a resort. Like, nobody would ever get killed. Like, what a brilliant idea for a prequel. Like, not a drop of blood spilled in the prequel to a horror movie.
Just a party movie.
Yeah, it's a party movie. It's an 80s party movie.
Right there.
There's a question for, is it Eric Farva? Do you ever just go around town and make a liter cola?
I get a lot of people who offer up liters of cola to me, and also want to spit in my burgers. But no, yeah, we get a lot of stuff shouted at us.
And gifted to us in a weird, like, you get soda, you get syrup. Like, it's in a weird, like, alright, right on. More syrup, throw it on the pile.
Powdered sugar, yeah.
When we were in college, we would get drunk on Friday night and we'd go to the Burger King to eat at like noon. And we would order, we'd order like a Whopper or whatever, and then we'd say, I want a large iced tea. And the manager of that Burger King was Canadian. And he's like, we don't have large, we only have liters. And I'm like, sorry, I'm in America, I'm not ordering a fucking liter. And he's like, then you're not getting it. And we would fight with him, and then eventually we go, God damn it, give me a liter of iced tea, right? And that's where we came up with that idea.
It's funny, Kevin, as Farva, is pretty recognizable, and like, he can't escape it. So like, for instance, there's a movie theater he likes to go to that like serves hamburgers and milkshakes and things like that. And there was one day he was with his family, and like the milkshakes, they wouldn't come out. The movie started, the kids were asking where the milkshakes were. He went to the waiter, and like, it took like an hour for the milkshakes to come. But before they came, Kevin finally had to go out to the concession stand to snap on the guy for not delivering the milkshake. And he got into it with the managers, like, where's the fucking milkshake? How did it take this long to make 5 fucking milkshakes for everybody? And there are people there, like, witnessing Farva snapping.
What a wonderful treat to see Farva in the wild, snapping on a theater manager.
You gotta be extra careful. Gotta be extra careful about snapping in public. You know what I mean?
No, you said that. It's true. You know.
Right here.
What was your favorite scene to film in the first or the second one?
And the second one was the Danny Devito scene.
It was so fresh to us. Like it was a very late. We like wrote it on set. So it was ridiculous. We were like, this will never play.
It'll never be in the movie.
Right, it'll never be in the movie. But we realized we didn't necessarily have anything. Like it was just scripted to be. Those guys were watching Hockey Night in Canada, and we storm in. It was like, it feels like they should talk.
That came from, I ran into Danny DeVito at the DGA dinner, and he was a producer on the first film. And I said to him, hey, Danny, I directed that film, Super Troopers, that you produced, that I write you checks for twice a year. And he goes, oh yeah, that's on my list of movies to see. And I told these guys, I'm like, can you believe this motherfucker hasn't seen our movie? So we wrote a scene that made it impossible for him not to see the movie.
Or so we think.
Maybe you guys know Danny DeVito.
Right over there.
I have a question for Kevin. So, what was it like to shoot that bear scene, chasing you and everything?
It was great because it it was so amazing to have a bear on set. You know, like we set a perk and said if we hit this certain money, we'll have a live bear, and we did. We got the live bear, and this 1,700-pound grizzly bear shows up on the set. His name was Whopper, right? And that bear, it was the biggest diva that I've ever worked with. Like, it came to the set and everything centered around making sure that bear didn't eat someone. You know what I mean? Like, they moved the catering, and they moved the wardrobe, and they moved everything so that that bear would not get pissed off and eat somebody. That's what I mean, there was a fear that it would eat somebody.
There were two.
Yeah, well, its sister was there too.
Yeah.
And they had to keep them apart because they said it would eat the sister too.
Yeah. But our most jaded friends who've, you know, come to our sets before made a point of coming to set that day because that fucking bear was there.
Right here, front row.
What was it like working with Michael Clark Duncan, and did anybody know he was going to be that funny?
That dude, I honestly think that, like, I know he got nominated for an Academy Award for The Green Mile, but I think his best role is as Cleon Salmon, as the champ. That dude showed up, like, we gave him, I mean, talk about an improv session, like, when we were writing that movie, we just improvised as Mike Tyson. That character was Mike Tyson, like an infantile, crazy fucking guy who could rip you apart with his hands. And we had huge monologues for Michael Clark Duncan. He showed up and he improvised every single take and nailed it every single time. And Kevin directed that one and was too intimidated by him to call cut ever.
It was terrifying, yeah. And that was the thing, like there was no rehearsal, like he just showed up. He just came on the first day of his shooting, you know. We had no idea what we were gonna get out of him. And then all of a sudden he had this monologue, and he went this monologue, and after the monologue was over, he nailed it, he just kept going. He kept going. And we couldn't stop him. We couldn't, because of fear of death. And you know, it ended up being amazing that the improvs that he did in that thing.
Because he was silly. You know, like he was really silly. Like there's a scene where we're all lined up in his office, and there's a lot of stuff that's scripted in there, but at some point he starts like doing the wiggy 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 wiggy, all that DJ shit. Where the fuck did this come from? I mean, he was unbelievable. That guy was amazing.
Yeah.
Let's go up there. Sure.
What was the first scene that you guys shot together, and what was it like getting the band back together?
In this movie, what was the first thing we shot in this movie?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was a
The
polo
rock and roll tour
bus.
bus, right?
The bus.
Yeah, we were on the rock and roll tour bus.
Rock and roll.
Oh yeah. we were there
So it was
3
funny
days.
because we were like finally back. I mean, that was what was so like weird emotionally about that stretch was we were back together. We were making a movie, and yet we weren't because, like what Lenny was saying, we really just had enough money to shoot for a week. So we were shooting, but we knew we were gonna have to like go back and raise more money, and then we were going back in, but we weren't. Basically, in that first stretch, we were either in our like rock and roll outfits or we were in Mountie outfits. So I'm not even sure in that first session that I don't know if you guys had ever even put on the Highway Patrol outfit. So
No,
it, was,
I think we
it
did.
didn't necessarily even felt like we were making like a weird other movie.
We did the construction zone scene too, I think.
That was first day.
That was
Construction
first.
scene.
Yeah.
That was the first thing.
Because we were all shaggy, and then we shaved that off to do the rock
That
and
was
roll
the second
tour
session.
bus. No, that was all the first session. The first day was construction zone with like sideburns and stubble and all that. Then the second, third, and fourth day was the tour bus, and then the Mountie. The
But it's true, that first week in that only time we shot 2015, we never put the Super Troopers uniforms on. It's true.
We shot some mounty scenes that never even made it to the movie.
Yeah.
We had rain and cold, and we were trying to shoot like a half a day, and it just got rained out. So that scene never made it. That you and I were doing full.
All right, is there any vestige of that in the movie?
No.
Oh, so there is. I forgot about that. That pullover doesn't exist.
Hence the deleted scene stuff.
That's right. We do have
Yeah.
a deleted scene.
Right there.
You guys brought Puddle Cruiser to my town for your little RV tour.
Okay, what town?
Oneonta.
Oh, all right,
Yeah.
all
Was
right.
it you that ran down the aisle with the film can and it like fell out? It must have been you.
I think it was Eric, right? 'Cause I was the guy on the stage. We did a bit where where I had to go up and stall because
Not very memorable, apparently.
I know. Where I had to go up and
Memorable for
stall.
me.
Because the film wasn't there yet or whatever, and we went through this whole bullshit, and then at some point Eric comes running in and says, I have the film, and he runs down, and he trips and the film goes unspooling all over. That was back when they had film.
You couldn't do that gag then.
But yeah, so that was the bit. Yeah.
Yeah, just great memory, like early interaction with independent cinema. But I'm just wondering, either one of you or all five of you, what's the biggest thing you've learned in 20 years of doing this shit?
Well, the best thing about that is we're in Oneonta, we were broke. We went to the radio station to try to get some publicity for people to come, but we had nowhere to stay. We were just 5 broke dudes in an RV, and so we said, "Is there anybody out there that let us stay at their house tonight?" And Johnny Rodriguez called up the Oneonta College radio station. "Yeah, you can stay at my place." So I went to some random guy's house and slept on the
We
floor.
stayed in his house.
Yeah, all with one eye open because we weren't sure if he was going to kill us.
Some random guy in Oneonta.
But I guess to answer your question, I think one of the things that I think about over the course of 20 years is I think we've learned to collaborate better. When we first started, we would get into fights about the dumbest shit, just the dumbest fucking shit. And we still get into fights, we still do. But I think we've learned to figure out how to shoot things, get past arguments and the things that stop people from collaborating and work together better. And it's maybe because we're just older and softer, I don't really know.
Well, because we once had like a 3-hour argument on which fraction was funnier.
Yeah.
And people were shouting out like, what about 7/16? And then, everyone would shoot that person down and be like, what about 9/20 seconds? And this literally went on for hours and hours. I think what we've learned is just to shoot everything.
Shoot both.
Yeah. Shoot every possible fraction.
Let's do 2 more.
I want to get someone, you're right there.
You guys play a lot of pranks in the movie. Do you guys prank each other while filming the movie as well?
I prank Steve Lemmy a lot. I sent him a.
It's funny. I got a headshot in the mail in my apartment in New York City. It was from autographed photo of Tony Danza. And it said, "Hey Steve, I'm a huge fan of your work. Let's get coffee sometime."
I actually said, "Let's do something together. Let's do a project together."
Even better. I called up each of these guys. Like, you sent me a fucking Tony Danza photo? Everybody's like, "No, are you kidding? You got a Tony Danza photo?" I was like, "Yeah." So after they convinced me that it wasn't them, I had that thing framed on my wall.
You couldn't understand why Tony Danza's agent wouldn't return your call.
No, he said he wanted to do something. Look, here, I scanned the photo. Here it is. A year went by, and then Jay confessed that it was him. But then
It's hard
around,
to get the Tony Danza photo to begin with. It was an effort.
how did you get that Tony Danza photo?
I'm a crafty cat.
So then, right before we went off to shoot Club Dread, I got a package in the mail from Arizona. And it was a pair of clam digger shorts. And the card said, "Hey, looking forward to seeing you down in Mexico. Thought you could use these." And so then I was like, Arizona, well, Paul's from Arizona. I was like, "Do you send me some clam diggers?" He's like, "No." And then I called Jay next because of the Tony Danza thing. I was like, "You send me some clam diggers?" He's like, "No." Called these guys, "No." So but then I was like in the awkward position of knowing that I was going to see somebody down in Mexico, and I had to have these clam diggers. So I went down there and, I wore the clam diggers trying to coax that person out to say something to me, but nobody said anything to me. So I wore the clam diggers the entire shoot. And then Jay confessed that he was going to send me a clam digger. Actually, gave them to a buddy who went to Arizona and mailed from Arizona.
I said, "You go to Arizona, mail these for me."
But I think it's a nice angle on pranks. We think of pranks as being embarrassing, hurtful, painful, but there's a great prank about gifting mysteriously something to somebody, just having them not know what the fuck happened and where it came from. It's the kind of prank nobody gets hurt.
Well, no, the Tony Danza thing hurt.
Never mind.
We see it in his office for like a year.
You're so proud.
Did you guys know that?
Oh, of course
he
they
was
do.
behind-
Of course they
I didn't know
do.
it.
Of course they do.
I didn't know it.
You do.
The Tony Dan, honestly, that's a great thing, and the bar has been raised for pranks. It really has. I think we have time for one more question, so before everyone raises their hand, who thinks they have the closing night question?
That's good. I like that.
Be a showstopper.
I think you do. Right there.
I don't know if I do or not, but I have to imagine that filming a film like this would have to do a lot with the jokesters and pranksters. Is there one
particular person that like holds you guys all down and says, okay, we gotta get some stuff done, we gotta do this scene, we gotta do that scene? Is there anyone of you that like says, let's go guys? Let's
Yeah,
go
who keeps us in line?
I mean, Kevin definitely keeps us in line. Like there are times where we're fucking around. Like Kevin, like if it was up to the rest of us, all our meetings would be on like, you know, sectional couches with our feet up, with music playing, where we're smoking pot and fucking not working at all. But Kevin is like, no, we're gonna sit at a conference table and we're gonna get this shit done. We're gonna get through this.
Bright lights. Sounds fun.
There was a period of time where like you couldn't have your laptop open in a meeting without Kevin coming over and slamming it shut, you know, on your fingers.
And if you were late, Kevin would.
Oh, give you the wise
Kevin is actually a lawyer. He's passed the bar in New York and Connecticut. For real, yeah.
Wow. So, no, he's the hard ass of the group.
Yeah, but Kevin can actually be a lot of fun.
Big teddy bear.
But yeah.
On that note, again, I want to say thank you to Fox Searchlight and Arclight for letting us show this.
Thank you very much.
And most importantly, a huge thank you to you guys for coming here.
Thank you guys for coming out.
Spread the word. Spread the word. You know, it's all over the weekend.
Is there like an embargo, or can people tweet or put on Facebook that, you know, what I mean? What they thought of the movie, because sometimes there's an embargo.
Only if they love it. If you like it.
So if you loved it, there is no embargo, and feel free to spread the love.
That's right.
Thank you.